What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 12 Team Builder, taking on Aaron and the Rome Empoleons in NCL. This is the final week of the regular season, our most important match of the regular season, as this is make or break for playoffs. Luckily, I'm in a pretty amazing spot. I'm in the best possible spot for my record in terms of making the playoffs, even without a win here, and I'll go through those scenarios once I'm done talking about the team. First up on Aaron's team, let's talk about what he's got. So he's got Tapu Fini, Superior, Umbreon, Donphan, Manectric, Hitmonchan, Megalodios, Heatran, Scolipede, Mismagius, and Dodrio. Priority options are the Donphan with Ice Shard and Hitmonchan with Mach Punch. Hazard setting, he's got the Donphan with Rocks, Heatran with Rocks, Scolipede with Spikes and Toxic Spikes. Removal options, the Fini with Defog, Superior with Defog, Donphan with Rapid Spin, Hitmonchan with Rapid Spin, and Megalodios with Defog. And just the 1/4 weakness in Heatran to ground. I'm not anticipating Donphan, Manectric, or Hitmonchan to come, so basically those three in the middle. Besides that, he has brought Heatran to every possible game besides his mono water game. Dodrio has come to literally every single game. Tapu Fini has been a premier defensive wall for him all season, as well as Megalodios. So I'm anticipating something like Fini, Serp, Megalodios, Heatran, Scolipede, and Dodrio. That would kind of be my guess. Although I think that Umbreon and Mismagius could come. I don't think Umbreon does come because I have a Mega Gallade. That's not the only reason, mind you, but I do think that Umbreon is potentially worse than something like Superior against my Suicune in particular. As well as Fini, like Haze Fini or something for Suicune, I think is another good bring on his end. So let's talk about what I'm bringing now. First up is Mega Gallade. I'm running enough speed to speed time Megalodios in Mega Form. With Swords Dance, Leaf Blade, Ice Punch, and Drain Punch. This is almost perfect coverage against this team. I can't hit the Scolipede super effectively with Ice Punch over like Zen Headbutt, but I'm opting to hit the Tapu Fini harder and just Ice Punching the Scolipede, which I think will be fine. Like, this ends up being still okay against everything. The big thing is that I'm not going to be able to hit like Mismagius with Zen Headbutt. Like, Zen Headbutt would be fine here. And I would potentially like to have Zen Headbutt, but I'm not sure what I would probably have to drop Leaf Blade, and then I'm relying on Zen Headbutt against the Fini, which is kind of eh. I'd rather have the super effective coverage against the Fini is basically what I'm saying. Because Ice Punch is definitely necessary to hit the Megalodios. So that is the Glade set there. I think if I can get up an SD, this is my biggest threat against his team. And I can potentially pick up a few kills if it's set up at the right time. I'm bringing a reasonably specially defensive Kecleon with a little bit of attack investment. With Rocks, Knockoff, Thunder Punch, and Recover. It's my rocker for the week, which is important to deal damage to Dodrio. He tends to bring Choice to Dodrio quite a bit. Like Choice Band or Scarf is typically the set that he likes to bring. And Dodrio, again, it's come to every single game. There's no reason for him not to bring Dodrio against my team, especially when I have a Shaman. So yeah, anyways, Thunder Punch is there for the Kecleon, or for the Dodrio as well as the Fini. And then Knockoff is just good against most of this team, especially having something where I can have a Dark type. He does tend to like Stored Power Megalodios, and depending on how likely it is he thinks that Sharpedo comes, he might bring the Stored Power Megalodios again. So if that's the case, he does usually bring Mono Stored Power, and I can just go into Kecleon and deal with it that way. Between Knockoff and Recover, I should be fine for a while. So that is Kecleon there. Avalugg is physically defensive. This is a Scolipede check. It's also my Dodrio check. If I really have to have a Dodrio check, like I think I might, then I'm going to have to bring Avalugg for that. So Rapid Spin, Toxic, Avalanche, and Body Press. Body Press is effective against any potential Heatran switch-ins, but also will still do damage to things that are not immune to Earthquake. Because like I could bring Earthquake for the Heatran and it would be fine, but since I'm running max defense anyways, Body Press is doing a tremendous amount of damage to that regardless. And so while I think that Earthquake could definitely still be useful here, I'm opting into Body Press instead. Avalanche is just gonna, it's gonna hit stuff like Megalodios with my Sturdy up. It's gonna OHKO the Dodrio if I really have to go into that. I don't really. Why do I have Body Press actually? I should have Recover on this somewhere. I should have Recover over like Spin. No, I need Spin. I should have Recover over Toxic. I should have Recover over Toxic. That's what I should have. Toxic is nice, but I do need Recovery. I completely ignored the fact that I didn't have Recovery on that. Heavy duty boots so that I don't take any sort of spikes, T-spikes damage, rocks damage, anything like that, so I can keep my sturdy up. And yeah, fully physically defensive again. It's a Scolipede check if I really need to. Otherwise, it's a Donphan check and a Dodrio check. Shaman is next. I'm bringing a pretty offensive Shaman, actually. I can afford to run Modest this matchup, so I'm going to with Synthesis, Seed Flare, Earth Power, Air Slash. I'm opting into Air Slash over Dazzling Gleam. Why? Just to hit Serp better. Interesting. Why am I opting into Air Slash over Dazzling Gleam? I guess it's for Scolipede 2? I think it's for Scolipede 2, but I really shouldn't be staying in on that, so we're going to change that to Dazzling Gleam for the Megalodios. A Seed Flare drop into Dazzling Gleam will definitely two-shot Megalodios variants, but that is pretty much what I have to hope for. So Synthesis is really reliable recovery. This is a pretty easy Tapu Fini switch in for me, and I get just Seed Flare like to my heart's content. I'll probably try and scout and see what the Heatran set is before doing anything absolutely reckless, but you know, if I see that the Heatran's running leftovers or something, then Seed Flare into Earth Power is going to be prime damage against that thing. I'm running enough speed for the Heatran because his speed tiers are kind of wacky. He's got like Finny, and then it goes up to Manectric and Mismagius, so there's like a 20 speed point gap that I can kind of just slot Shaman in and run Modest. If I was bringing Garchomp, I could run Adamant Garchomp as well. I don't think those are super great examples because, you know, I'm being able to run Modest, but I still can't run that much bulk. I've ended up splitting this bulk. I think I've calced this to two-shot something. No, I can't remember what it's calced for, but I'm not running max special attack. That's the reason why. Suicune, I'm just bringing Speedy Suicune with a really interesting set, actually. Psych Up for, like, Calm Mind Latias, I think, is kind of cool. Or potentially Calm Mind Finny. I just think that Psych Up is super useful against either of those, especially when I'm considering something like Haze Tapu Fini. On his side, I do think the Latias is going to be Calm Mind, so Psych Up is just really cool tech for that. I could potentially Psych Up like a Nasty Plot from Mismagius as well. I'm running max speed so that I will speed tie with Tapu Fini, as irrelevant as that may be. You know, if I am going to be able to Psych Up Calm Mind boost from the Fini, then I would want to be at least speed tying it to get the Spadef boost as it tries to Moonblast me. And then Ice Beam to hit the Serp and the Megalodios, as well as Surf, just my own stab. I want Surf over Scald because I want to Toxic things if I can. The thing is, Misty Surge is going to be in the way anyways, so there's not really a reason to run Scald over Surf in this matchup, in my opinion. Most of this team is especially offensive anyways, so Scald burns, you know, while they do give a little bit of passive damage, I'd rather Toxic things, except I'm not running Toxic on anything, so it's irrelevant at that point. And then Roar just to phase things out, you know. Calm Mind Latias, if I can Psych Up on it, then it's doing a lot less damage, and then I can Roar it out, and we're in less danger there. Last but not least is Zapdos. I'm running a Curse, Rest, Talk, Drill Peck Zapdos. The only thing stopping this from winning pretty much right off the bat is, again, Haze Tapu Fini and Heatran. I think Heatran is the only thing stopping that. I don't think Manectric even comes to this game. It would be weird to me that Manectric would come to this one. Manectric, like, cannot do anything to Garchomp at all. He's brought Switcheroo Ring Target Manectric before to hit a Quagsire on Cindy's Mono Water team, but that was Mono Water, where it's an electric type against Mono Water. I mean, that was good tech at the time, but it would be weird to me. It would be very strange to me that Manectric shows up to this match. I don't think it's coming, but it might. I don't know. Thing about Rest over Roost is that it lets me bypass any Toxics coming from Megalodios or something, excuse me, to deal with my Zapdos. Zapdos tends to be a toxic magnet, and so Rest Sleep Talk kind of deals with that. There are a few ways around this on his end. You know, he could run like Taunt. I think Scolipede gets Taunt. I could be wrong, but I know Heatran, Finny, and Umbreon all get Taunt, and I know Serp gets Taunt. So there's a lot of Taunt mons that could stop this from doing stuff, but you know, if I can effectively deal with Finny with Shaman and potentially set up on something else with Gallade and then bop the Finny in the face with a Leaf Blade, then I'm looking like I'm sitting a little bit pretty. If the Finny is going to be a Resist Berry, I don't think it would be Rindo. It doesn't really make sense to try and resist Shaman when Finny's not really going to be able to kill it back. But if it was going to be a Resist Berry, it could be like Kebia for Poison Jab from Gallade or Garchomp. which are mons where it is super effective back to. So, you know, it could run Kevia where it gets outsped and then Oko both with Moonblast or something like that. And that's why I'm running Leaf Blade over Poison Jab in this one. Because Poison Jab would also be fine, and the Poison chance against some things is fine as well, but I just think that Leaf Blade is going to be better in that case. So that's pretty much the team in terms of what I'm not bringing. Garchomp definitely could have shown up. It's kind of in a weird spot where, like, literally half of his team naturally outspeeds it, and is forced to run, like, a boosting nature to outspeed it, to be fair, but, you know, they can outspeed it naturally, which makes things a little bit awkward in terms of running Garchomp. Despite the fact that I can run Adamant, it's just, you know, I'm going to get blown back by a lot of the things that outspeed me. Mega Latios in particular, as well as having like Ice Shard Prio with Donphan. Although I don't expect Donphan to come, I think it's viable. Salazzle actually outspeeds his entire team naturally, but I'm opting not to bring it. Just because I felt like I needed the defensive option in Suicune in this matchup. Otherwise, Salazzle is actually a fine choice. You know, I can Toxic absolutely everything. Again, Misty Terrain is kind of stopping that, so that's one of the downsides to bringing Salazzle. I can't touch Heatran with Salazzle, so Heatran's kind of a free switch in, and Heatran kind of like blows back my team without Suicune around. So that's also another thing to keep in mind there. Klefki, you know, it's okay. I can Spike Stack. There's like 2 Levitators and a Dodrio here, so I'm not sure how good Spike Stack is with Klefki this matchup. You know, Screens could also be okay. It kind of can't cripple things. Like, the big thing stopping Klefki again is Tapu Fini. Like, Tapu Fini ends up being the biggest issue on this team. Sharpedo, again, Tapu Fini is the big thing stopping Sharpedo. Sharpedo could absolutely annihilate this team if there wasn't a Tapu Fini and an Umbreon in the way. But Umbreon can be dealt with Mega Glade. Tapu Fini not so much. That's kind of why I have to have Zapdos there. And then Rotom, I think Rotom also could have been okay in this matchup. It kind of runs into the same issue. Like, if I were to bring Rotom here, I would probably want to bring, like, Will-O-Wisp Hex. And unfortunately, Misty Surge just stops that again. So that is kind of that. So now let's go through playoff scenarios. So the way that matches have turned out up to this point, I'm the second last game to determine seeding. There are still 3 spots left in playoffs, and it's basically between me, Aaron, Amish, Joey, and Gareth for those 3 spots. Gareth is 6-6 plus 0, so there's no way Gareth can catch me, which means I'm definitely guaranteed ahead of Gareth. But I'm not guaranteed ahead of Joey, Aaron, or Amish, depending on how this goes. So Joey is 6-6 plus 3. So as long as I finish ahead of Joey, worst case scenario, I will be 8th seed. Which means all I need to clinch playoffs is 4 kills. Because no. 5? 3? 4. I don't know where I'm going with this. If I get 4 kills... No, that doesn't matter. I need 3 kills. There we go. I need 3 kills. Now I'm figuring this out. So, Joey holds the head-to-head tiebreaker over me because he beat me in Week 8. So we can't tie with him because then he would finish above me in the playoffs. So as long as I finish 6-6 plus 4 or better, I will clinch playoffs, is kind of what I'm saying here. So I'm kind of playing for 3 kills in this game, because if I get 3 kills, I will clinch. And Aaron, I think the only way he can clinch is with a win. I'm not sure on his head. Let me just double check his head-to-head with Joey really quickly. I'm not sure that they've played this season. They have. They actually played last week and Joey bodied him. So, if Joey... That means Aaron needs to 6-0 me. No, that doesn't mean that he needs to 6-0 me. If he wins, he's in. And if he loses, he's out. That's pretty much all there is to it with Aaron. It's pretty basic on his end. But my end is definitely a lot more complex. Because if I win, I'm in for sure. And again, I only need 3 kills. The other way around. Although if I lose 4-0, 5-0, or 6-0, then I'm screwed. So there's also that. Which means there's 3 scenarios where I do not make playoffs, and 11 scenarios where I do make playoffs out of 14. So there's an 11 to 14 chance that we make playoffs based on this game. Unfortunately, that is not how odds work in Pokemon, and we all know that things like Fire Blast miss more often than they hit. So we will see how this goes. I'm looking forward to it, and you know, if we don't make playoffs, we don't make playoffs. This has historically been my worst NCL season so far, and you know, season 3 I didn't make playoffs either. Maybe there's a trend of, you know, divisible by 3 seasons where I just don't make playoffs for some reason. But it's been a fun season. I hope you guys enjoy the match, and I will catch you guys for that.